finally, after like a year or two long hiatus, coming back to do another episode of the High School for Newbies series, because I'd honestly forgotten about it. After the last episode that I did, my grandma died like a few days later, and I never really got back to it because I kind of forgot about it. But I found the file on my computer with the list of topics I wanted to cover, although, if any of you have suggestions for topics you'd like to hear me talk about on here, please feel free to leave them in the comments and I will add them to that list and make a video of that. So anyhow, today's topic is orientation day. Oh my gosh. I'm going to tell you right now, it is not a scary thing. For some reason, it seems to just sort of universally wig everybody out, but it's not scary. But I will tell you that I remember what I thought going into it, and just the level of ridiculousness that is my mind might make you feel a little better about whatever you're probably assuming the day includes. The only time I had ever really heard the term orientation when I was about to enter high school was in regards to college kids in fraternities and sororities, and I thought orientation was like the hazing process that frats do to their new members and stuff. I thought, for some reason, that high school orientation was that. Which, let me assure you, it is not. It is not. A school system would never, ever, ever be allowed to do that. So, just in case anybody was as ridiculous as I was in thinking that, not true. Not even close to true. So, I can laugh at it now, but I remember being terrified leading up to it because I thought my parents just didn't know what they were talking about, and I was basically being led like a lamb to the slaughter to this thing where I would probably be tortured or whatnot or whatever they were going to do. Nothing like that at all. Oh my gosh, so let me just say that every school does orientation day a little differently. Some of them, it's just an assembly run by some of the staff. Some of them let older upperclassmen run it, but usually it's by some of the staff, and they'll go through an assembly for the new students of kind of like what to expect in high school. Sometimes it's just a day where they have upperclassmen lead the incoming freshmen around the campus so they can get to know the place. And sometimes it's combined with registration day. Actually, a lot of times it is combined with registration day, and just for simplicity, I'll talk about that in this video too, since, yeah. But anyway, every school does it a little differently, so I'll try to cover the topics of all of the above, since the school I went to did all of the above, but I've heard other people say that their schools only did some of the above, so I'll talk about all of them because at least some of this will probably apply to your school. So, anywho, it's probably not that different from your middle school orientation if you went to one of those. I only went to middle school for 1 year because I'd gone through a kindergarten through 8th grade Catholic school. But for 8th grade, I transferred into public school. So I kind of got the new kids orientation for middle school. So that wasn't something that all the kids went to, it was just some of them. But apparently at the beginning of middle school, there is one for all of the kids to my understanding. So, to my understanding, it's not all that different. So, I have a list of things I'm talking about, so excuse me every time I lean over and hit delete on another bullet on the list because I talked about it. So, anyway, you're going to want to be prepared for the day. Like, you're going to want to get a good night's sleep the night before. I mean, you don't want to pull an all-nighter, as tempting as it may be if you're anxious about it. If you need to, drink some mint tea, chamomile tea or something the night before, read a good book, listen to chill music, do whatever you gotta do so you'll be able to fall asleep, get a good night's sleep. You may very well have picture day, either for the school pictures or for ID card pictures, so make sure you present yourself well, wear nice clothes, do your hair, do your makeup, do what you gotta do. This isn't necessarily time to do experimental stuff with your look, but just make sure your appearance is cool. Also, you'll be meeting some people for the first time there, so first impressions last, they matter, so you don't want to go in looking like a slob, you know what I mean? So take the extra mile, make sure you look good, eat a good breakfast, you know, just the general stuff. Try not to get rushed that morning. Obviously know the time and where the thing takes place. This is a thing I did not do. I knew the time, but I didn't know where, so yeah, it made it a little more hectic. Yeah, so anyway, there will probably be an assembly of some sort, most likely either in your gym or in the cafeteria. Usually it's the gym, but some schools do it in the cafeteria. And typically the principal will talk to you guys. Maybe they'll introduce some of the other staff members, like vice principals, APs, guidance counselors, stuff like that. Maybe even some of the teachers if they're cool. I mean, and they'll talk about different things like the dress code and campus rules, what to expect from your high school experience. I'm trying to remember what they talked about at my acceptable versus unacceptable behavior on campus, responsibilities as a high schooler attending this campus, the discipline system of your school, because that does vary from school to school, teams, clubs, you know, that sort of thing. It's just a very, very basic overview of what to expect in high school. And it's nothing scary, but it may even seem a little boring, but hold with me. You're gonna want to listen to it. My nose is a little stuffy right now, I'm sorry. But yeah, you're gonna want to pay attention to what they have to say. You might even want to bring like a notepad and a pencil to jot down anything that you think might be important that you may not otherwise remember. You may not need it, but I mean, it's good to have it there just in case. So yeah, basically you don't just like talk to your friend through the whole thing. You should actually listen to this, because you'll have your entire high school experience to socialize, right? You only have this one assembly to listen to this info, if that helps put it into perspective at all. So, there's that. What else? Oh yes, there may be Link Crew, which I was very confused about what that even was, so I missed out on it because for whatever reason I thought that meant rowing team. I don't know how my brain made that jump, right? But what Link Crew is, or a Link team, or a Link system, they call it different things in different schools, but generally Link is in the name. But they generally have some upperclassmen, like juniors or seniors, who are assigned to a group, like a small group of freshmen, about 5 to 10 freshmen apiece. They'll lead them around the school, show them where everything is, answer their questions, generally do like a getting to know you thing with the kids in the group. And a lot of times, throughout that first year, they will still be assigned to that group of kids and kind of keep track of them throughout the school year, see how they're doing, see if they can help them, you know. It's actually a really cool thing, and I wish I had known that's what it was, because I would have been very into taking part in that, both as an incoming freshman and as an upperclassman for other students. I would have been very into that. So, that's all Link Crew is. It's nothing scary. I mean, you might think it sounds dorky, but it is and it isn't. But you want to know somebody going into high school. Especially if you feel like you don't know anybody there. You're going to want to know as many people going into it as possible. So, there is that. Now, if it's combined with registration day, parents may or may not be a thing. I know, it seems totally lame if they are, but they're generally there to pay for stuff for you. Because a lot of times going into it, you don't know the exact amount of what your fees are going to come to. So certain schools just say up front, yeah, you're going to need to bring a parent so they can pay for this stuff for you. Because, well, sometimes it's also so they can listen to the info too in the assembly, but a lot of times it's just the payment thing. Because you typically pay for your gym clothes, which may or may not just be the basic t-shirt and shorts combo, or you might be getting like the sweatshirt and sweatpants with it, or you might want to get more than one set so you can swap them out instead of having them be all grungy and dirty, because who actually remembers to bring them home and wash them, right? But, yeah, so depending on your situation, it'll come to a different amount for what you're gonna buy. you pay for those. A lot of times you'll pay for your yearbook right up front, for any class fees, for your yearbook, or I said yearbook, for what else? School pictures, you know, that sort of thing. So I don't think school sports teams are included in that because there's tryouts and generally those don't happen before the school year starts, so I think those fees get paid a little bit into the year and you have to go to the office or something. But again, every school does it differently, so. Also, some schools make you pay for your books. That generally isn't a thing, but some schools do. Mine didn't, but some do. And likewise, if that's a thing, you're probably also going to get your books that day. Otherwise, it'll probably be within the first week or so of the school year, and you'll just go with your classes to get your books. But anyhow, yeah. So that is a thing. But yeah, otherwise, aside from paying for stuff, the parents generally stay in the background and mill about with each other and let the kids do their own thing, which is good. Even with my total helicopter parent of a father, he stayed in the background, which I am eternally grateful for. So, yeah. You're also probably gonna get your class schedule that day. Sometimes they get mailed out, but a lot of times you do pick them up at registration day. Also, your locker will be assigned to you that day. You may or may not take your school picture there. Sometimes it's on registration day, sometimes it's in the first couple weeks of the school year, so whether or not that's a thing, you will almost definitely take your school ID photo picture at registration. So, yeah, again, another reason to look nice. You don't want to be stuck with a crappy picture on your ID card for all year, do you? No, you don't. Wish somebody had gotten that message through to me. I think I may hold the world's record for worst ID photos ever. So, this actually also applies to my school photos from, I was gonna say during my high school existence, but no, actually, pretty much school existence in general. So, yeah, again, it's not the time to experiment with your looks, but, so you're gonna do that. You're probably gonna turn in all the forms that you and your parents had to fill out ahead of time that you may have gotten in the mail or had to pick up from the school directly. You know the packets I'm talking about, the ones where you have to fill out your emergency card and all the info and all like the approved things like, yes, my kid can use the computer lab, blah blah blah, all that shit. Yes, you turn all of those in at registration. I know there's a few schools where the parents just bring them to the office, but usually it's during registration. That's part of the registration process, so, you know, makes sense. So, it may or may not be part of orientation and or link crew, but if it's not, orientation day is usually a great time to have an opportunity to walk around the campus, get a feel for it, figure out where your classes are, and you can like figure out what the best route is to like walk through the school to get from class to class. So that's very convenient and very helpful, I will tell you right now. Some schools don't allow it because of security issues, but most schools do, so that's a good thing. And once you do it, you generally have a pretty good idea of where stuff is and won't need to do it again. Even though first day, nerves will probably get to you, and it's very possible you'll still forget where they are, but it'll be okay. I promise you, it'll be okay. So, it's cool just to figure out where the classes are and also where your locker is. That's an important one. You need to know where that is compared to where your classes are and figure out the length of time it takes to get from there to your classes so you can figure out a general sort of guesstimation of when you think you'll need to head back to your locker to swap out books and stuff, because a lot of times there's legit not enough time to get from point A of your locker to point B, whatever the next class is. It's just like the unwritten law of high school. So, if you're lucky, you'll have at least one class that's near it, but I was never that lucky. I think I had one class in my entire high school existence that was even in the same hallway as my locker. It was down at the very end of the far end of the school, about as far away from everything as one could possibly get, because I guess they did them alphabetically, and my name's right at the beginning of the alphabet. So, yeah, not very helpful, and always had to kind of plan out, was going to hit the locker first, then have to get there a little early so I'd be able to do it and then get to the first class in time. Generally have my books for the next few classes till like the first break period, run like hell back to the locker, swap them out for the next group of books, get to the next class, but have like the next group of books till lunchtime. During lunch, go back to the locker, swap them out, get the books for the rest of the day. You know, that sort of a thing. If you're lucky, you may have more leeway than that, but that was my experience with it. So it's good to be able to kind of figure this out beforehand. But yeah, the whole thing generally lasts, I mean, not the walking around thing, but orientation day and registration, whole thing generally only lasts a few hours, so not too painful, I think. It's pretty standard. So you're probably going to be too busy doing all the stuff that you have to do there to really have that much socialization time, but you may have some, especially if you go with the link crew thing. You probably will have time to socialize with somebody, but if you don't do that part, then yeah, you're probably going to be there, do the necessary things, get in, get out as fast as you can, but it'll still take you a few hours, because there's a lot of kids and a lot of lines, and that part sucks. I won't lie to you, it sucks, but you'll live, it'll be okay. I think mine was about 3 hours, and that was without the link crew thing. So that was just with the assembly and with registration. So yeah, but all in all, it's not bad, and it does eliminate some of the first day jitters because now you've seen some of the school, and it doesn't seem quite so scary. So it's actually really a good thing, and kind of genius on the school's part to do it that way. That's probably, you know, why they do it. But anyway, I think I've covered about all there is to cover on orientation day and registration day, so if you have any questions of anything I didn't cover, feel free to ask in the comment box. As always, hit the like button, subscribe, and till next time.